Hey, welcome to another episode of Pod 22. Today I'm joined with Sylvain Caucheteux from Cirkwi. How's it going, Sylvain?
Very well, thank you.
Okay,
And
good,
yourself, how are you?
good, good. Thanks for asking, man. Well, I mean, they're cleaning the snow in my street, so I do apologize for the background noise, but yeah, things are good. No more blizzard. It's nice and sunny. Where are you right now?
I'm currently in Nice. I live with my family there in the Côte d'Azur, and the company is settled in Nancy in the east of France.
Okay, and did you grow up in the south of France? Is that where you're originally from?
No, no, not at all. Actually, I just choose to move to Côte d'Azur because I decided to work where I wanted to live instead of the opposite. I grew up in the country between Normandy and Champagne, in a
Okay.
region named Picardy. That was the historical center of France. For it, it was the land of the French kings. Did you know that?
I did know that. You're talking to a history major. I better know that.
Mm.
But the yeah, I have good memories of that area, even Normandy as well. But Reims was absolutely like stunning city. I don't know, is it in Picardie? No, is it?
No, 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 it's not in Picardy, it's in
Yeah, it's not
Champagne.
Picardie.
But
It's
but
Champagne.
let's say Picardy is just in the middle of Normandy and Champagne, so it's in the north region.
Okay, okay, cool. And you have fond memories of childhood? Was it fun living in that area?
It was a country, man. All my friends were farmers.
Okay, okay, cool. And you kind of like decided, and we're fast forwarding obviously, but you chose to take a study at university business and tourism. Did you have any reasons why you chose that career path at the time?
Tourism is so essential to life of humankind in general, human mankind, don't you
Mm.
think? The see how people are suffering right now not to be able to travel. So it has always been so. Human travel since the early ages, not only because they have to, but also because they want to. So
Hmm.
holiday travel is definitely a modern must-have over contemporary society. Um, well, actually, it should be a human right to travel, don't you think?
I do think.
Let's say, on a business perspective, tourism is a service dedicated to customer experience. So that offer uh, nothing to be compared with other product or services. If you see that through that angle, don't you think?
Yeah, I think in our conversations you mentioned that it's a unique product that will never, like, for that person, that will be always unique to their experience and it can never be replicated. It is so
True,
unique.
true. That's the live experience magic.
Yeah, the magic. And what I also liked about our conversations before, in the past, is that it's not only it's a magical thing, but it can be a magical thing no matter what how much you're making. Like
Of course,
you can be on a
definitely.
very budget and yet have an extremely great traveling experience, whether it's a hike or going to the beach for 2 weeks. And it could be, you could feel the same thing as the millionaire who's on his yacht and he's doing something else.
Yeah, it's nearly philosophy, man.
Cool. All right. Well, now I'll have to have Bernard. What's the French philosopher?
Bernard-Henri Lévy,
Yeah, now I'll have to have Bernard Henri Lévy on
forget
the
it.
podcast. So, yeah, there you go. So, going back to your studies, though, I know you had spent some time in the United States as part of your degree. Could you tell me about a bit about that experience?
Well, yeah, I first studied at ESSEC, that's a French graduate grande école in Paris.
Hmm.
And it's so that I had the opportunity to spend some time in the US for a semester.
Okay.
I chose California because that was the place to be, as simple as that. With the XXXL size campuses, the XXL barbecue, and the XXL places all around. So good wine and swimming pool. I even entered a choir. Can
Wow.
you imagine? And I sang the Vivaldi as a baritone for the love of a blonde student there. So
Okay, so it was for the love of a student. It wasn't because you were
because
actually
I
really
was a
good.
baritone, no,
That's
it
pretty
was not
funny.
that terrible though.
That's pretty cool. That is really, really cool. And so, and then moving forward, you could basically, I guess you return to France, and then you start your career kind of in marketing and tourism. I think you first started at Club Med. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. At the end of the 90s, back to these days, Philippe Bourguignon, it was well known back to these days. It was from Accor and Disney, so pretty
Okay.
pretty good background. And a guy named Yves Martin, he was from the Casino supermarket. There's a kind of our Walmart here, you know, the Casino supermarket. They were
Okay.
shortly appointed president and VP sales and marketing, so we simply wanted the revolution to enter this amazing and worldwide known brown club Med. So we created so many new services and trying to reinvent the company product and reputation. It was amazing. Actually, I was hired to industrialize the CRM and the database marketing at Club Med.
Okay.
So back to these days, direct marketing was, let's say, was mailing an ad to a customer at the size of a postcard, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So
So we
direct.
kind of brought we brought the one-to-one direct marketing and database marketing to the travel industry back to these days. So it was a fun experience
Yeah. I
and
think.
challenging too.
Yeah, and I think what in the final years you kind of had a budget to sort of go beyond the normal strategy. So you spoke about like sending a postcard. I guess that's like a much more conventional marketing way.
Yeah,
What
that's the
what
basic marketing. Yeah.
Yeah, that was what other marketing campaigns did you like in the last years where you were doing as you were going more digital? Is it going through partnerships? Was it like mass emailing? What was the kind of things that you were doing?
Well, that was pretty much into the one-to-one marketing that allowed not only digital but also CRM,
Okay.
the trigger marketing especially. Club Med is not that much of a mass market product, so we wanted to find new ways of engaging our European customers into valuable CRM and one-to-one experiences. Of course, back to these days, we were talking about all these loyalty card programs, all that bullshit. that is disappearing, actually.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
that's
but
yeah.
it was everybody thought it was very important back to these days. These
Hmm.
loyalty program, these mileage, and these earn and burn programs in marketing. Yeah,
Cool.
long time ago.
Long time ago. Well, fast forward for a couple of years now. I think in 2013 you become the commercial director for Belambra, and you get an even bigger role. Now it's not just managing marketing; it's also managing like a lot of employees. What was that? What was your role there, and what happened?
Yeah, well, yeah, it was challenging. Let's say challenges in every corner.
Okay.
You see, Belambra Resort is probably one of the most direct booking company in the hospitality sector,
Okay.
as 80% of the B2C booking volume is direct. So
Wow.
compared to the other chains, where only 10 to 20% is direct. The first challenge for a medium-sized company such as Belambra Club was to continue to develop, continue to grow through the direct channels, and fight with the indirect distributors. The bookings and all the indirect distribution industry.
Okay.
The second challenge was to develop the decent MICE activity. You know what MICE is?
No, I have no
Stands
clue.
for meeting, congress, and event
Okay, got it.
seminar. In a family and holiday-oriented product, it's quite of a challenge. So that was the second challenge, and then we also developed the international bookings when 90% of the booking back to these days came from the French families and customers.
Okay. So,
Voila. Well, we faced most of that challenges, and we went two-digit growth for 4 years in a row. So it was an
wow.
interesting experience.
So it was a challenging one as well. But for the international ones, that's interesting you bring that up. Was it, you know, how did you reach these people? How do you get them to find out and trust the brand and do the bookings, especially if the bookings were done directly? What kind of did you have any specific strategies that really worked out, or what was the game plan?
Well, I must admit that on the international side, we haven't been that much aggressive compared to the French market. So we
Okay.
mostly based on our partners abroad.
Okay.
either digital or non-digital. But we opened 15 countries in 4 years, so that was a pretty big
Wow.
challenge. So we needed to use strong partners on these new countries,
Yeah, for sure. And it,
essentially Northern European countries.
yeah, and then that's immensely like it's a lot of work. It's not even just also just the content, translating it, everything, and finding the right partners.
True.
And then in France particularly, did like because now social media is starting to become a thing. Did you like strategize around social media as well for growth within the French market?
Well, no, actually, 5 years ago, we pretty much used the basic social media strategy. We did not sponsor that much content.
Okay.
You know, I remember some of actions that we have, like the competition of the best picture of the holiday, blah blah. But um,
That's okay. It was pretty, but
I'm
if
ashamed. I'm
anything,
ashamed to talk about it.
I don't think so. If anything, if you were able to get the growth without having a big influence in there, that's probably it's
No,
pretty commendable.
TikTok there was no TikTok back to these days. Philippe. It's
Yeah.
something. It's a word we don't know anymore.
Yeah. No, fair enough, fair enough. And so, looking back to the last, we're going to talk about Circuit, but I find your path really interesting because you've seen this growth in the industry in these like locations, and you've done marketing for a long time with all these like different companies. What do you think has changed the most in their approach to tourism marketing? If we're talking about Belambra or even Club Med.
Well, that's a very interesting question, Philippe. Actually, now that the selling direct on the web is not a point anymore. I mean, not that all the hotel industry don't want to do better than they do right now, but they can sell direct, which was not the case a few years before.
Hmm.
So the next digital challenge is actually content, and because content is what most travelers want.
Hmm.
Not No traveler actually will choose a destination because it has a nice hotel. Everyone will start looking for experiences. That is the weak spot and the opportunity that professionals have here. By selling customer experiences using their environment, not only the product they deliver, such as the room or a seat, but the environment. And that's the whole evolution that is going on right now in the tourism industry is how do I manage my content, but not only my content, but also the content of the environment that will drive my customers to book on my website.
I try to
See
make
the
a
transition?
Yeah. I try to make a point now in my podcast not to say I couldn't agree more, but in this case, I really couldn't agree more. I think there's an identity crisis for a lot of these big companies, especially big OTAs like
True.
Expedia and Booking.com. They I don't think they can survive just on booking. I think they're gonna have to rethink their strategies, especially based on content. And I think Airbnb is already doing that, and they're like miles ahead. And we're going to talk about this more because now we're getting into the Circuit part. And so, you joined Circuit, I think, in 2018.
Sure.
With I think, would you mind telling us a bit about the story? How did that come about?
Well, like I just said, it's everything is about customer experiences. So I think
Hmm.
everybody agrees to that. And customer experiences need content, and I mean real content, not SEO, Google friendly content.
Hmm.
So we got to start to talk to real people, real travelers, real human beings, and not machines. Not just
Yeah.
Google algorithm with cheaty nonsense content. So when I met Benoît on a trade show, we were both convinced of that fact. uh, myself, Belambra, executive, and Benoît as an entrepreneur, and so with our very different background, we just met on and we made like an agreement on that, and we met on that point of content. That's how we decided to do something together about it.
Hmm. And so at that point, you I guess you become co-CEO with Benoit, and I know, like we've spoken about this, but you had always wanted to become an entrepreneur. What made you think that Cirkwi was finally the right fit for you to get into that entrepreneurial journey?
Well, I think we were both convinced that we were stronger together. I know
Mm,
it sounds a little bit, but that's how it went. I mean, we both visionary and creative. That's what we try to be.
mm-hmm,
We're both solution oriented, and we have a strong sense of what it is to achieve in order to succeed. And so when we met, I knew I was looking for somebody like Benoît, and Benoît was looking for somebody like me.
So it was meant to
I
be,
don't
so to
know. I
speak.
don't know any other way to put it. Philippe, it sounds a little bit strange, but
Une histoire d'amour.
uh,
It sounds awesome, man.
it was partnering at the first sight. It was not love, but it was partnering.
That's perfect, man. That's cool. And we're gonna get a bit into more of the specifics, but I know that at the point where you joined with Benoit, Circuit had an existing product. What was that product at the time?
Well, yeah, Cirkwi was already employing 10% and was later on its core product, hiking routes in France and Belgium. It
Hmm.
was largely distributed to more than 2,000 professional customers, mostly institution and public-owned companies, about 800 websites already, and more than 40 million B2C users per year. So they had already had a very established product, but although the pandemic proved the resilience of this market, I mean the, the, the national market and
Out.
the institutional customers,
Hmm.
this product was hardly scalable because it's based on locally produced content and not
Hmm.
algorithm. So it would have taken years to build the same amount of data and the same amount of knowledge and the same amount of awareness in other countries, in
Hmm.
England, Italy, Germany, Spain, where with the data and the algorithm and the search engine we've been building, we can launch our product in Asia tomorrow.
Hmm. Yeah, and that comes into like my next question. Essentially, you guys develop these APIs. I think that there's two of them: World is Mine and Story Guides. So first of all, I know about them, but maybe the people who are watching and listening, they don't haven't heard of it before. But can you explain what these APIs are for and what do they offer?
Well, so let's say World is Mine is the engine.
Hmm.
It's the tourism research engine. So the algorithm of World is Mine allows us to offer more than 3.5 million POI and hundreds of millions of related web pages. It allows anyone to jump in one click into any destination in the world in almost any language and discover its famous or less famous point of interest,
Hmm.
the tours, the museum, the activities, restaurant, bars, and more. And Story Guide is a guide in the form of a story of
Hmm.
Instagram, like the usual thing. So it offers, let's say, a plug and play device for hotels and
Hmm.
other tourism professional to deliver to the customer, to the end users, a unique experience to their website visitors um, before their arrival or even on site.
That's so cool. And like 3.5 million points of interest, and I think it was 22,000 guides. Like that's a huge library. Like, how did you guys like just create this? This is not like this is a lot of work. What was how did you pick up the challenge? How did you guys do it?
Well,
Without giving the
again,
secrets, obviously.
when we're dealing no, what Philippe, when we're dealing with algorithm, the hardest move in is of course to transfer the manual, the human work
Hmm.
or art into algorithm.
Hmm.
And then once you did that and you tested it, you tested the relevance of the algorithm, then you can do 10,000 or 1 million guide à la demande, just ask for it.
Hmm.
So, for example, three months ago for the French railroad system. We built a huge database with a story guide for every railroad station in France, and we can do that in Europe or in the world. It just gave me the latitude and the longitude of every railway station in the world, and I give you the guide for it. See, so that's it's not that hard once you build the algorithm. I mean, numbers doesn't count. That's what I meant.
See, to me, that's just so cool and just so innovative, because when I think of history in France, I think about how every small town and village has that World War One memorial, and it says a bit of the story, like a big part of the story of the town, but that is not available digitally to the masses of the world. And now you guys come around with something that actually can do that, and that can tell you all these little bits and pieces that you just can't get in a little guidebook about, the country, that now you can get it just at the touch of your fingers. And that's revolutionary. It's really cool.
True. See, from a B2C perspective, let's put it that way. You know that 95% before the pandemic, 95% of tourists worldwide were traveling to 5% of the destination in the world. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
So let's say that on a B2C perspective, StoryGuide allows you to reverse the process and make available for the world the 95% rest that is never shown or never been public.
Yeah, that's, oh man, it's so cool. I gotta stop being so positive about this, but it is really, really cool. And so, we talked about the product, and we talked about some of the customers or some of the people that are using it, like hotels and tourism boards. How does it work out for them? And like, let's say you contact them, what's the process like? How do they get to use it?
Well, our primary target for StoryGuide is the hospitality industry. So that means hotels, resorts, B&B accommodation.
Okay.
We signed 250 independent hotels since the beginning of our campaign 3 months ago.
Wow.
And also large chains such as Belambra Clubs, Charme Caractère, and Contact Hotel, for example.
Okay.
Our conversion rate is 90% on our sales meeting.
Wow.
That means when we have a meeting with an hotel, he buy our product. So that's wonderful. That's why we want to try that. We want to try that in Spain in 2 weeks. Yeah. It's because we want to challenge. We want to challenge the process and the sales process and in elsewhere. We want to challenge that in Canada and in the US in spring. To check if the hotel industry in the US has pour eux open to this innovation.
Yeah, I mean, it would be un-American of them to not be open to innovation, I suppose. That's cool. That's 98%. That's a really good number.
90%.
90%. Sorry, 90%.
That's good enough, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty nice. And I think I've seen the video that you guys have shared recently, that when you did that push, and it's really cool because it's like, all they have to do is just take a line of simple code, paste it in their booking engine, and then boom, that's it, right?
Yeah, it is. It is very simple.
Okay, and then they can customize what they want to show on top. Like there's also like a selection process. It's not just here's everything, the information. It's, well, what do you think your user will benefit the most, and you could probably like customize that, right?
Yeah, obviously. We've built the story guide back office administration to make it very easy for our customers, the hotel manager, to change the automatic story guide we built for them. Of course, so you can customize completely, but you can choose the source, the website source. He can also actually create his own POI if he wants to.
Wow.
If he has a let's say he has a neighbors who's doing a wonderful activity, but it's not promoted on the web. He can easily create his own POI and decide to make it public or not. So keep it for himself. That's everything is completely customizable.
That's cool. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe there's a freemium model and then there's the paying model. Is that correct?
Yes. There's a free model that allows you to like always
Yeah.
start your, but you have a good product on the freemium version.
Yeah.
You can use that product. You can select 10 point of interest. You can have one guide, and then if you take the premium, then you can really build an ecosystem, customize the guides you choose. You can create your own. You can create guides in foreign languages, because that's the point. Usually in the country you have the information in the country language. But thing is, for France, for example, or Spain, we have 80 million visitors from international countries. So but the problem is nobody speaks English, Italian, Chinese or Japanese, forget it. So that's a nice part of StoryGuide, is that you can not only we do not translate from French to Chinese. We refer to Chinese websites that introduce the POI in the customer language. That's a very difference.
That's cool. And I assume, I never asked you this, but is the algorithm also like taking account, like, a lot of users are now interested in this point of interest for this hotel chain. So I guess it now knows this is now, I guess it gives a report to the hotel, or it knows that a lot of users are now interested by this, and thus will present that point maybe a little bit more like earlier in their journey, I guess, right? So my question is, does it self-learn?
It is true. It is true that we have built our algorithm to it's a learning process. So the more people are interested in POI, in certain POI, the more we promote them, we push them. That's one point. And it's true that the hotel manager has a dashboard with information that allows him to know what interest, who's interested by who, what kind of information, what kind of activity.
That's awesome. That's so cool. And going in, because I know Lonely Planet has launched an API, but I don't think they've really marketed that product in the same way. Do you guys have any competitors? Like, does anybody come up with something like this? Is it?
Well, I hope we have some competitors. Actually, Lonely Planet is a potential competitor in the sense that they're delivering content like we do, but not the same way as we do. The fact that great and historical players, non-digital players, recently decide to provide the industry with content online is good for us, actually. But Lonely Planet they are a content manufacturer. We are let's say big data analyzers. So we're not doing exactly the same job. They deliver 600,000 POI and we have 3.5 and counting. But that's another difference. Well, they have made their content available online, and that's great. But we have built maps and tools and widgets to provide customized ecosystem to magnify our customers' destination. So it's not the same product, actually, although we believe that we are on the same market.
Yeah. And again, I really should avoid metaphors, but I can't stop thinking about how it sounds like they're Blockbuster and you guys are Netflix, and or more like Netflix is had the distribution, and then they're like, well, we want to become the distribution and the content producer before the other guys get the chance to catch up, and it sounds a bit like that. I hope that because this personalized approach, this super user centric approach is so novel, and it's awesome. It's really cool.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And so you spoke about these new markets that you'll be targeting in 2021. Do you have any sort of metrics of success that you're holding yourself to? Like, this is how many now countries we want to penetrate, or is it these partnerships that we want to sign? What's sort of like the metrics?
Yeah, well, we launched Belgium. Like I said, we want to test how do you think it's gonna succeed or not? it's important to fail too, because you learn a lot out of mistakes. I mean, we've done a lot of mistakes before arriving and finally succeeding with this product. Mm-hmm. And that's maybe because we made a lot of mistakes that we finally we're going on a growth phase right now. So we launched Belgium and Switzerland in January. Like I said, we're launching Spain in February and Canada in April and USA in May. Okay. Once we prove that we have the same traction abroad that we have here in France, then we will raise funds from VC to accelerate development. That's the bottom line in 2021.
That's man, I can't wait to follow up and hey, maybe we'll have another conversation maybe a year from now, 18 months from now, and you'll be on a yacht in the Riviera and
no, I'll be working with the Singapore Travel Industry Board.
Okay. So I have a couple questions about company culture specifically, because I know you had mentioned it earlier on the show. That Cirkwi is headquartered in Nancy, but a lot of the team worked remote before the pandemic, and you're one of the few companies I've ever heard in France who had that structure before. Was that well received by your peers? Like, did anybody ever comment, either positively or negatively about it?
You're right, Philippe. Remote work has not been very trendy before the pandemic in France, at least. I don't know about Canada, but actually a lot of people advised to us to go the opposite way. Mm-hmm. But some among us chose to work where they wanted to live and not the other way around. So Benoît lives in Normandy, Jean-Yves lives in Belgium, Valentin lives at the German border, and I live in Nice. So let's say the pandemic has allowed us to test that organization within the whole company. Mm-hmm. And now it would not be possible to return to the office because we grow so big. we're 32 now, and so we triple the number of employees since last March. Mm-hmm. And so as we have only 20 workspaces at the headquarters, it's not possible to go back to work at the office now.
It's physically impossible. That's cool.
And we don't have time to work on déménagement, moving. We don't plan on moving. Yeah. We want to we're trying to make our office in Nancy become a place where the team will come when they want to experience teamwork. Mm-hmm. And when they decide to it and decided and not us. So that's the bottom line.
That's cool. And, we spoke about it a bit earlier. You had a pretty big career in tourism and marketing and business as well. Any advice you can give to recent graduates, and especially in tourism and marketing, that you wish you had at the time? I know, big question.
I'm not that old, Philippe.
I didn't mean it as an age thing. I just meant, the guy's been doing marketing for a longer time than me.
I would give them the advice not to count on experienced professionals like me to teach them what to do. As seriously, the world travel industry is in need of new brains to imagine the future of tourism. So I advise them not to benchmark industry leaders, as they are followers and most rarely trendsetters.
You know what? That's actually pretty damn good advice, if I may say so myself. So we talked about this API that you developed, and you have your team of devs. Now you have this like commercial team to sell and give customer service to this product. Now you have these two big teams that are getting bigger and bigger. How do you bridge the gap these two teams? By the way, this is a personal question too, because we're at C22, we're in the same situation. So, do you guys have like team bonding things? What do you guys do, or is it really you keep them separate and that's it?
A team what? Sorry.
Oh, so the question is, you have a dev team and then you have a commercial team.
Yeah, true.
Do you get them to commingle, let's say, so to speak?
Yeah, well, we try to commingle. Did not commingle like that. It's I guess 2021 is going to be hard for Cirkwi because once we hope so the pandemic is over, then the sales team that was hired over the last 15 months is going to meet with the dev team. And so
for the first time physically.
Oh, that's you. Okay.
So you don't have the answer yet. You're waiting to see how that goes. Okay, cool. Very, very cool.
So that's the point. Yeah. Well, actually, I'll say, half of the team never saw the historical one. So, and most of them haven't seen me. So
going back to that, we talked about the content topic earlier, and I'm really happy you brought it up. I had it is something I've been talking with more people recently about, that it's more and more important, and if some companies fail to strategize around it, they will fail. Do you see some of these big fish, like maybe even the OTAs like Booking.com or Expedia, do you see them, like, if they fail to do this, they might actually like just die? Do you see like a failure to approach this content approach? It might lead to some heads rolling, let's so to speak.
Like we said earlier, I think we're both convinced that content is the key. Or I don't know if Booking is going to fail or not. I hope not, because I hope they're going to figure out that Cirkwi can help them.
I hope they're listening.
I'm sending a message to that guy at Booking head.
Yeah. Good.
Talk to me through LinkedIn, and we can help you.
Yeah.
Well, seriously, the players who think they have to build content for Google and for referencing purposes are wrong. That's I'm sure about that. What I'm not saying that algorithms do not play a major role in our industry. I mean, they do. We build algorithm every day. That's what we do. But machines don't travel, and humans do. So let's focus on offering to our customer the best experience on the web ever. That's what we need to do.
Yeah, I agree. And you spoke about that you're emailing the Booking.com guy. If people want to get in touch with you for either the API or partnerships, what's the best way to reach out to Cirkwi?
LinkedIn, definitely. Okay. They can join me on LinkedIn, Sylvain Caucheteux.
Okay.
And they can also start on their own on Cirkwi.com, because we have all kinds of tutorials and product that are completely plug and play. So actually, Booking can start to figure out our API on Cirkwi.com just right now.
Okay. Well, I told you this before. I'm definitely going to share this in the podcast episode. So hopefully it lands you that Booking.com partnership. Sylvain, I have one more question for you. This is more on me. As a podcast host, I'm really happy I get to interview you, because I think what you guys are doing is incredibly innovative. If you were in my shoes, any innovative people or products in tourism that you think I should invite?
I won't pick up a name, but somebody is in the Asian and tourism industry, for sure. They have so many potential customers there. I can give you some names if you want, but Asia is the future of tourism. Talking about markets, right?
I'm talking about markets, industry, anything, people. Yeah, but I haven't had a Asian or a guest that's centered on Asia or from a company that's centered in Asia. So that's a really good point, and I'll have to work on that. So thank you. Well, that wraps it up, man. So hey, thank you so much for coming. I'll share the contact info, and I'm personally looking forward to reading more about you guys' successes this year, because I think it's going to be a huge year for you.
Thank you, Philippe. Thank you for your time.
All right. Thanks a lot, Sylvain. Take care.